Somewhere in the mountains of northern Morocco, there is a city where every single building is painted blue. Not one street, not one neighborhood. Every wall, every staircase, every doorway, every flower pot, every alley, every surface in this city that could possibly be painted is blue, in dozens of different shades, from pale sky blue to deep royal blue to electric cobalt, layered and refreshed and touched up constantly by the people who live there. And nobody fully agrees on why. Ask a local and you'll get a different answer every time. Some say it was the Jews. Some say it repels mosquitoes. Some say it represents the sky and the presence of God. Some say it keeps the houses cool. Some say it's simply what everyone does, and no one remembers when it started or why. The city is called Chefchaouen. It sits at 600 meters above sea level in the Rif Mountains, a 4-hour drive from Casablanca and worlds away from anywhere you've ever been. It has a population of just 46,000 people. It was closed to non-Muslims for over 400 years. 3 Christians who tried to enter during that time were executed. And it is, without question, one of the most visually extraordinary places on Earth. Welcome to Globe Curious. Let's find out why Chefchaouen is blue. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with more amazing videos and curiosities you'll only find here. Leave a like to help me reach even more people, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Stay until the end to discover even more incredible facts. To understand Chefchaouen, you need to go back to 1471. That's when a warrior and Islamic scholar named Moulay Ali ben Musa ben Rached el-Alami founded a small fortress in the foothills of the Rif Mountains. The name Chefchaouen comes from the Berber language. Chef means look, and Chaouen means horns or antlers, a reference to the 2 jagged mountain peaks that tower over the city like guardians. So the name literally means look at the horns. The fortress was built for one purpose: defense. Portugal was launching military campaigns along Morocco's northern coast, and Moulay Ali needed a stronghold in the mountains to resist the Portuguese advances. It worked. The Portuguese never took Chefchaouen. Within decades, the fortress grew into a city, and the people who came to fill it were in large part refugees. When Spain completed the Reconquista in 1492, the Christian reconquest of the Iberian Peninsula, hundreds of thousands of Muslims and Jews were expelled from Spain. Many of them came to Morocco. Many of those came to Chefchaouen. They brought with them the architecture of Andalusia, the whitewashed walls, the inner courtyards, the citrus trees, the tile work, and they built a city that looks, to this day, more like southern Spain than anything you'd expect to find in North Africa. Then, in the 1930s, another wave of Jewish refugees arrived, this time fleeing the rise of Hitler and fascism in Europe. And it's with this second wave of Jewish settlers that the blue story truly begins. For over 400 years after its founding, Chefchaouen was completely closed to non-Muslims. It was considered a holy city. Christians and Jews from outside were forbidden from entering on pain of death. Only 3 Christians are known to have entered the city during this period, and 2 of them were disguised. When Spain finally occupied the city in 1920, the Spanish soldiers who entered were reportedly stunned to find a population that still spoke a dialect of 15th century Spanish, the language their ancestors had brought from Granada over 400 years earlier. Now for the question everyone asks: why is Chefchaouen blue? The honest answer is, nobody knows for certain. And that uncertainty is part of what makes the city so fascinating. There are at least 5 different theories, and depending on who you ask, any one of them might be true, or all of them might be, at the same time. Theory number 1, the Jewish refugees. When the Sephardic Jewish community settled in Chefchaouen, both the wave from Spain in the late 1400s and the wave from Europe in the 1930s, they brought with them a deeply rooted tradition. In Jewish religious practice, the color blue, called techelet in Hebrew, represents the sky, and through the sky, the presence of God. Jewish communities have a long tradition of incorporating blue into their prayer shawls, their fabrics, and their architecture as a constant visual reminder of the divine. The theory is that the Jewish settlers of Chefchaouen began painting their homes and their quarter of the Medina blue as a religious practice, and over time, their Muslim neighbors, noticing that the Blue Quarter seemed to have fewer mosquitoes, or simply finding the color beautiful and calming, began to follow suit, until the entire city was blue. Theory number 2. Mosquitoes. Chefchaouen sits near a waterfall, the Ras el-maa, which is still the city's primary source of drinking water. Wherever there is standing water, there are mosquitoes. And wherever there are mosquitoes in the ancient world, there is malaria. The theory is that locals discovered, either through observation or experimentation, that blue paint acted as a deterrent to mosquitoes, perhaps because the color resembles water, which mosquitoes avoid landing on. Perhaps because of the chemical properties of the indigo pigment originally used to create the blue. Either way, residents of the Jewish quarter reported fewer mosquitoes, and the practice spread. Theory number 3. Keeping cool. The Rif Mountains can get brutally hot in summer. Blue and white surfaces reflect more sunlight than darker colors, keeping the interior of buildings cooler. Some researchers believe the blue and white color scheme of Chefchaouen, similar to that of Greek island towns like Santorini, evolved partly as a practical response to the climate. Theory number 4. The Mediterranean. Some locals will tell you simply that the blue represents the Mediterranean Sea, visible on a clear day from the mountain peaks above the city. That the city is painted in the color of the water that connects it to the wider world, to Spain, to the history of the people who came from across that sea to make their home in the Rif Mountains. Theory number 5. Nobody remembers. Ask younger residents why the city is blue, and some of them will give you the most honest answer of all. It's just what you do here. You paint your walls blue because your parents painted their walls blue, because your neighbors paint their walls blue, because the city has always been blue as far as anyone alive can remember, and to paint it any other color would feel wrong. The truth is almost certainly a combination of all 5 theories. A religious practice that became a cultural identity, reinforced by practical benefits, sustained by tradition, and now maintained, at least in part, by tourism. Let's talk about what it's actually like to visit Chefchaouen, because this is a city that almost nobody in the Western world had heard of before Instagram. As recently as 2010, Chefchaouen was a quiet, largely undiscovered mountain town visited mainly by backpackers and a handful of European travelers who knew Morocco well. Then came social media. The blue alleys, the flower pots, the cats sleeping on blue staircases, the images were irresistible. Within 5 years, Chefchaouen had become one of the most photographed cities in the world. And yet, despite the tourism boom, it remains remarkably authentic. Unlike Marrakesh or Fez, where tourists are aggressively targeted by merchants and toots, Chefchaouen has a genuinely relaxed atmosphere. The Medina is small enough to walk entirely in an afternoon. The streets are quiet. The pace is slow. The most photographed spot in the city is a staircase called Callejón el Asri, a narrow blue alley with steps, flower pots, and walls in a dozen shades of blue that changes color and mood depending on the time of day. At sunrise, it's soft and pale. At noon, it blazes. At sunset, it turns deep violet. Photographers set alarms to be there at exactly the right moment. Now let's talk costs, because Chefchaouen is extraordinarily affordable. Accommodation: a bed in a traditional riad, a Moroccan guest house built around a central courtyard, costs between 150 and 400 Moroccan dirhams per night. That's roughly 15 to 40 US dollars. For a private room in a beautiful centuries-old building with a rooftop terrace and mountain views. Food: a traditional tagine, slow-cooked meat or vegetables in a clay pot, costs between 40 and 80 dirhams at a local restaurant. Less than 8 US dollars for one of the most delicious meals you will ever eat. A glass of fresh squeezed orange juice costs 5 dirhams. A pot of Moroccan mint tea, served in the traditional way, poured from a height to create foam, costs 10 dirhams. Getting there: there is no train station and no airport in Chefchaouen. The most reliable way to arrive is by CTM bus from Tangier, about 2.5 hours, or from Fez, about 4 hours. Bus tickets cost between 60 and 100 dirhams each way, about 5 to 10 US dollars. The most extraordinary thing about Chefchaouen? The cats. The city is absolutely full of them. They sleep on blue staircases. They sit in blue doorways. They watch from blue windowsills. Nobody owns them. Nobody chases them away. They are simply part of the city, as much as the paint and the mountains and the mint tea. Now for the things that most travel videos about Chefchaouen never tell you. Secret number 1. The most famous building in the city is not blue. The Kasbah, the original fortress built in 1471 that started everything, is not blue. It never has been. It is terracotta red and muted white, exactly as it was when Moulay Ali Ben Rached built it over 550 years ago. It sits at the edge of the main square, Plaza Uta El Hammam, completely unmissable and completely unlike everything around it. Inside the Kasbah, there is a small museum with artifacts from the city's history, a beautiful Andalusian garden, and a tower that offers one of the best views over the Blue Medina. Entry costs 10 dirhams, less than $1. Secret number 2. There is a waterfall in the middle of the city. The Ras el-maa, which means head of the water in Arabic, is a natural spring and waterfall that flows directly through the Medina. Local women still use it to wash clothes the traditional way, laying them flat on the rocks to dry in the mountain sun. It is 5 minutes from the main square. Almost no tourists find it. It is one of the most peaceful places in any city I have ever seen. Secret number 3, the city's biggest open secret. Chefchaouen sits in the heart of Morocco's cannabis-growing region in the Rif Mountains. The plant, known locally as keef, has been grown here for centuries and is deeply embedded in the local economy. Drug use is technically illegal in Morocco, but enforcement in Chefchaouen is notoriously relaxed. Travelers walking the Medina will almost certainly be quietly approached by someone offering to sell. This drew a wave of backpackers to the city in the 1970s and 80s, long before Instagram made it famous for entirely different reasons. Secret number 4, the city speaks 15th century Spanish. When the descendants of the Spanish Muslim refugees were finally encountered by Spanish soldiers in 1920, over 400 years after their ancestors fled the Reconquista, the soldiers were stunned to discover that the community still spoke a form of Haketia, a dialect of medieval Spanish that had been preserved in isolation in the Rif Mountains since 1492. In some parts of Chefchaouen, traces of this linguistic heritage still survive today, particularly among the older population. Secret number 5, the blue is getting more intense. Historically, the walls of Chefchaouen were painted in a range of colors, including white, yellow, and terracotta, as well as many shades of blue. Over the past 2 decades, as tourism has grown and the city has become defined globally by its blue image, locals have gradually painted over many of the other colors to present a more consistently blue face to the world. The city is, in a sense, performing its own identity, becoming more blue as the world's expectation of blue grows stronger. What began as an organic tradition is now partly a conscious branding decision. Chefchaouen faces a challenge that many of the world's most beautiful places now face: how to remain itself in the age of mass tourism. The city that was closed to outsiders for 4 centuries, that executed Christians who tried to enter, now welcomes hundreds of thousands of visitors every year. The narrow blue alleys that were built for donkeys and pedestrians are now navigated by tour groups following guides with selfie sticks. The traditional Riyadh guest houses compete with international booking platforms. The cat that used to sleep undisturbed on the blue staircase now gets woken up 6 times an hour for photographs. And yet Chefchaouen endures. The Medina's 7 neighborhoods, its 7 ancient gates, its 12 mosques, they remain intact. The Ras el-maa waterfall still flows. The mint tea still tastes the same. The mountains still rise above the city like horns, just as they did when Moulay Ali named the place after them over 550 years ago. The Moroccan government has been investing heavily in preserving Chefchaouen's authenticity while expanding its tourism infrastructure. New roads, better bus connections, improved accommodation standards. The goal is to welcome the world without being consumed by it. Whether that balance holds is one of the great questions facing not just Chefchaouen, but dozens of cities like it around the world. Places that became famous for being undiscovered, places that are now in danger of being loved to death. Chefchaouen is a city that should not exist, a fortress built in the mountains to keep the Portuguese out, a refuge for people expelled from Spain, a holy city closed to outsiders for 4 centuries, a place where medieval Spanish is still spoken, a city painted blue for reasons that nobody fully agrees on, and that became somehow one of the most photographed places on Earth. Every shade of blue on every wall tells a story of refugees and warriors and saints and artists and cats sleeping in doorways and mint tea poured from a height in a mountain cafe at the edge of the world. Next week on Globe Curious, we cross the Mediterranean and land in Istanbul, a city that sits literally on 2 continents at once, a city that has been the capital of 3 of the greatest empires in human history, and a city with a secret underground world beneath its streets that most of its own residents have never seen. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and tell me in the comments, if you could paint your entire city one color, what would it be and why? Drop it below. I'll see you in the next city.